Hi, I'm Derek with Vice Grip Garage. Oh, wait, no, that's not Vice Grip Garage. Air Capital Hot Rods Garage. And on this episode, we're going to fire up the LS engine in the Chevelle. Like I said, we're getting pretty close to firing up the engine. As you can probably tell, it's not quite ready to fire up yet. I got a couple of things to do here. I got my cardboard list of things to do that I can check off. I'll just go down the list. As I'm working, I may realize some additional things that I have to do. And this is going to take me a couple of days to actually finish up because I'm waiting on a few little parts. So this all video will encompass from today to when I actually fire it up. So I'm hoping, when I get the last little piece, that day I'm ready to fire it up. So what we got here is spark plugs and wires, power steering hoses. I got my rubber fuel line there, so I got all the hard lines and everything done for the fuel system. I just have to connect the new fuel pump to the old hard lines on the downstream side of the or upstream side of the fuel pump, so the low pressure side. Have to run the wire over to my fuel pump. All the rest of the wiring is done, and if you want to see everything that I've done on the fuel system and everything, click the video link somewhere in this vicinity, and you can check that out. Gotta get the brake vacuum line, a couple bolts in my accessories, hook up the transmission cooler, engine cooler gasket. Oh, that's for the engine oil cooler. I need to put a gasket in there. I gotta hook up my shift linkage to my transmission, put all the fluids in. I got a couple ground wires, put in dipstick, and then thought of one that I hadn't done yet is put in the air intake system. For right now, I'm going to run the mass airflow sensor. So, collectively, these are not really big deals. So I think I'm getting pretty close. The thing that's going to slow me down is I ordered a fitting that goes from this inverted flare fitting to this to the metric O-ring fitting. So I ordered that last night from Summit. Today's Sunday, so it won't probably get shipped out today. So it'll get shipped out on Monday. So it'll probably be Tuesday or Wednesday when I get that. So hopefully my Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll just thread that in. We'll be good to go. So we got a lot of little things. So we're just going to get started. I'll explain a couple of strategies here for a minute. On the spark plugs, I'm just going to put in regular spark plugs, no big deal there. On the wires, with these headers, there may be a couple that I, are impeded to get to. Typically, I've used the stock spark plug wires, and then on a few of them, I have some different boots and stuff that I'll make custom wires for if I have to. So it'll be kind of tricky because like this one, with the way this is swept right here, and that spark plug comes in at this angle, I think I'm going to need a 90-degree boot there. So I think the other ones might be okay on this side. So stuff like that. Talked about the power steering hose. Transcooler line. I did order some different transcooler line. That's 3/8 of an inch. This stuff is 5/16 inch, so I figured bigger's better. But I think the fittings on the radiator are for that size. So I don't know what I'm doing exactly. I'll have to figure that out. I'm gonna fire it up without the exhaust hooked up, because who doesn't love open headers? So let's get started. Less talk, more work. Alright, just to get you up to speed here. Got the dipstick taken care of right there. That's an F-body dipstick for F-body oil pan. Then we got the fuel line, fuel pump, fuel system all complete. So knocking them out. Alright, catch up to speed here. Got a few more things knocked out. Got that brake vacuum line for the booster right there. Whoop. Got the ground wires for the engine, and I don't remember exactly what else I had done since the last update, but started working on this air intake. This is a, generic Silverado whatever intake. It's the same one I have on my 68. It isn't the greatest, but you know what, it works. Well, sometimes it works. So supposed to run from the throttle body over here, very similar to that. But in the Chevelle, kind of have a battery here. So that doesn't work so well. I mean, this is a pretty big filter, so it just doesn't fit there. So we're going to put it over here. There's no battery down there. I did have my overflow tank there, but we'll work around that. The problem though is that if you have this elbow here, it's hitting the accessories. So need to make a little piece of pipe there to space this out into this empty area. Luckily, I have some 4-inch aluminum pipe left over from my BMW project, so I can just cut a piece of that off. The holdup though is then I'm going to need a rubber coupler to go from this to the throttle body, and I don't have that yet. And then the way this is set up is kind of dorky. I think you're supposed to use some type of rubber grommet thing that was on the stock air box and stock mass airflow sensor, and I don't have that. And then you're supposed to reuse that clamp too, and so I'm missing a clamp. So might have to go to the salvage yard for that. But of course, to start it up, you don't really need an air filter. It would run better with the mass airflow sensor though. So, I just thought of an idea. Maybe I'll try this out. Maybe we can put the mass airflow sensor right here in front of the throttle body to use as my spacer, and then out. So we'll try that. But yeah, it's coming along. The list is getting shorter and shorter. So keep watching. All right, after just a little bit of wiggling around here, I think I got something that'll work. Got the little rubber boot there, mass airflow sensor, rubber elbow pipe, down to my air filter. Think that'll work. Sorry about that. I got to mount my fuse box here and my ECM better, but you know, it's going to reside there. Still got to get that clamp there, and but that should work. And then I'm gonna it has a couple of aluminum brackets here. I'll probably whack those off, and or I might see about trying to get some sort of support with one of those, but we'll see. But this is looking a little bit more promising. It is pretty close back in here, but there's a little bit of room, so I think we're good. All right, I found a clamp and bent this bracket. I'm gonna bend that down or do something to give it a little bit of support there, but I think air intake is good enough for now to at least start up and have some fun with. So got that done. Kind of like the looks of the black. However, the black filter, you know, if it was a different color, you'd be able to see when it turns black and dirty, but obviously not that one. So hopefully, you know, this area will stay a little bit cooler. But right, well, we got the spark plugs in. Some of them aren't real happy. Well, I should say spark plug wires. So I got about half the spark plug wires, and so we got that back one on the passenger side, and this cylinder, what is that, 4 on this side. So that one, you can see it has some clearance. That tube there, that tube just a little bit too close, and same way with this one. This front tube really sweeps down and forward, so that's in the way. I'm hoping just some 90-degree boots on the spark plug wires will alleviate that problem. Over here we got the number 7, number 1 cylinder. Number 5, that's not too bad. It was hitting this tube right here. But this number 3 cylinder is going to require some massaging to this primary right here, which isn't a big surprise at all. In case you missed it, one of the last videos or older videos, these are 1 7/8 inch primaries. So with primaries that big, you know, you just expect to run into stuff like this. So actually, Speed Engineering, when I ordered these headers, they had an option for buying spark plug wires with them. I don't know if those all were 90-degree boots or what, but I didn't take them up on the offer. Maybe I should have, but anyways, so I'm gonna go dig in my box, see what I have for spark plug boots and everything to make my own. So more fun. All right, what I got here, this is my box of wiring or spark plug wire stuff. I got a bunch of leftover LS spark plug wires and stuff, but the exciting part of it is I got a couple of sets of spark plug wires. These are custom made ones, supposed to you know, use that end and everything. But so I got some wire there. Then I got these boots. So I got some 90-degree boots. These are Taylor 46001. So 90-degree boots, and then I have coil boots too. So 46069 LS1 135-degree coil boot terminal kit. So I should have enough. I got some extra spark plug wire too. So I should have enough pieces to make up the 4 spark plug wires that I need. And then probably still going to have to take that header out and do a little massaging there. Which really, I need to take this header out anyway because I need to weld the collector on it. I was going to do it underneath the car, but while it's out, I'll just go ahead and weld that on there. So no big loss there. I'm going to show you how to make up one of these custom spark plug wires. So this goes on the spark plug here. And with the flanges, the thickness of the flanges, I'm running this boot part down and then looping it back up to the coil. So just kind of explain that a little bit. But they're all basically the same, either end, they do it the same way. So cut it to length, and then you got this little tool here. It'll strip off the insulation. So you stick your spark plug in there, and you just kind of twist, and it starts cutting that insulation. There's a razor blade in there. So you want to strip it off a little ways, and then you kind of pull. Well, there you go. And there's your conductor there. And so we're making a 45-degree boot here for this one, or 135 degree, whichever, the coil itself. So here's our connector that's actually going to plug into the coil. So what you do is you bend this conductor back on it and into there, and then pinch it down. So I'm going to go just a little bit more on this one. Not quite enough in my opinion. And there's probably some fancy tools that will do more of this for you, but this is the way I do it. Right or wrong, I don't know. So bend that back. I put the bend towards the back of the terminal. Then I take a pair of pliers. So it's just a big U, and I'm going to kind of shape that around that spark plug wire there. So very gently, just kind of work it in there. Kind of do it from the 2 uprights of the U. Okay. Push that down in there just a bit more. Okay. Okay, so that's locked in there pretty good. Might be good enough. Got my wire strippers here, and if you've ever noticed, it has auto on here on a crimping thing. So this is what they're used for. So put that indentation kind of in between those two metal right there. Then you can clamp it down. So that's pretty good. And then what I usually do, don't know if this is right or wrong again, is I flip it over, and then that'll indent the backside, give it a little bit more clamping. All right, so that's in there, not going anywhere. I suppose you could test for electrical conductivity. Don't worry about that. Okay, now I gotta slip this boot over here, and that's kind of a little hole. So what I do is I take some WD-40 and spray it inside the boot, and it'll allow that to slide in there. And one thing about it is it definitely helps, and once it dries, it's pretty much locked in there. So it seems to really help. There might be something better to use for this. Again, never had a problem. So I just slip that in there. And you basically got to get this terminal almost all the way out, and then go plug it into the coil, and then I'll slip this boot back up over to get the proper distance there. All right, and now it's on there. So got 1, 2 made up, got 2 more to do. Just repeat. So 2 more. Got the 7th spark plug wire made up. Last one is this difficult one. You know, I can get this boot on there, but it's just right there. So I'm gonna have to take this header out before I can actually make up the spark plug wire itself to route it up here. I may have to go down and around to get to there. So gonna mark that out to where I need to clearance it, and then get it out and start banging away. Alright, as you just saw, I got the header out here. I marked where the spark plug wire and spark plug itself kind of intersect this tube right here. So I'm going to make a little bit of clearance with my friend BFH and his little brother, the ball peen hammer. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit this here, I'm going to whack that and make a little bit of room. So if you're wondering about, well, aren't you going to damage the flow of your headers and not make any power? This has actually been dyno tested that a little bit of clearancing and stuff really doesn't make any noticeable change in power. So, and you know what? There's just no way about it. I got to make some room for my spark plug wire. So, there you go. Do a test fit and see if that is enough there. No, I don't know. There's a little bit of a dip there. Also, this not shown earlier, I don't think. This is where I had to clearance for the lower control arm. So dinged up just a little bit. With any headers, this sort of thing seem to be pretty common. So got the header temporarily installed here. Got enough room right there to get onto that spark plug and at least tighten it down with our socket here. So in the process there, alright, my wobble universal joint on my ratchet got away from me when it was attached to the little impact drill, and broke my temperature sensor. So have to get one of those. So I'm gonna try to take this spark plug from this one, spark plug wire, and put it on here, see if I can get that to work there. Every once in a while you get lucky. So got one of the stock spark plugs, and just kind of massaged this little metal heat boot, and got a little bit of clearance there, and I'm gonna go with it for now. You know, this may melt. I don't know. I mean, it's real close. But we'll go with it for now, see what happens. And so there we go. So now I'm going to take the header back off, and then I'm going to weld my collector on there. Let's go down here. So here's the collector that I got. This is a ball flange style, so it has a 3-bolt flange, and then this part here expands out and this part expands in, and it creates a metal seal and no leaks. I've had really good luck with these as far as not leaking. And then since there's no gasket to burn up and blow out like a traditional 3-bolt header gasket. That they just suck. So I'm gonna weld this on. All right, so I got this collector welded onto my header here. So we'll go ahead and put this back in the car. All right, got that header reinstalled and all my spark plugs done. So the driver's side header is done. Next, I'm going to pop out passenger side header and weld the collector on that side. Alrighty, boys and girls, here's the list. Spark plugs and wires. Need to cross that off. Done. Power steering hoses. What's the star mean? Oh, gotta order parts. Boom. There it is. CPP. I think that's Classic Performance Products. 500IOA. One of these should thread into that fitting down there and allow me to thread this in there. So let's see if it works. Alright, I've been up this little return line here. Just the angles and everything of the hose there and this, or the original one, weren't going to work. So reused the nut there, flared the end of this tube, and yeah, I put that in there. Alright folks, we are literally moments away from trying to fire up the 71 Chevelle with the 6-liter LS engine and 4L80E transmission for the first time. Okay, so up to this point, I wired everything up, connected up the battery, and turned the key to the on position, and let the fuel pump flush out the fuel line and everything. I did get some crap in there, probably the little grindings and stuff from cutting the tubes and everything. So flushed that out and everything, and seemed to work. Then I hooked up the fuel line to the fuel rail and everything. Had a couple of leaks that I fixed, and then as I was trying to fix one of the leaks with the key off, luckily, boom, broke a AN fitting that went to the fuel rail. So I'll show you that. I just over tightened it really. So there, just broke that off. So that kind of killed my progress for last night. So I let everything dry overnight, and then I just cut off the fuel line and then put a new fitting on there and then tightened it on. It's not the cool black one like that other one was, but anyway, no leaks there, so we're good there. All right, then with the fuel pump fuse out, I turned the engine over and made sure I had oil pressure. According to my gauge down here, which is kind of hard to see, I had 50 pounds of oil pressure while cranking. Made me real happy. So we got oil pressure and we got fuel. Okay. So then I got my HP tuner out. To do a LS swap, you're going to have custom tuning. At minimum, you have to remove the VATS, which is the Vehicle Anti-Theft System, I think is what it stands for. So you got to do that. I have HP tuners myself. I bought 2 credits last night, 2 credits for this engine ECM, and so now I can tune it myself. I already did a segment swap, so I'll go to transmission. So as you can see there, 4L80E, and then mine's an earlier one, so it doesn't have the park reverse neutral drive switch on it, so I selected none there. I have electric fans. I'm going to have fans. I have 2 of them, 2 fans. So they're on. So fan 1 on. We don't want 284. I'm going to modify this. I don't need to show you how to do it. Basically, you just change these values to what makes sense to you. And then somewhere in here, you have to disable VATS. I don't remember where it's at. VATS. None. There we go. At this point, I could probably fire it up. I want to go ahead and get those fans changed, and I'm going to look this over a little bit before our first attempt. But knowing that I have fuel, got oil pressure, when I turned it on, you could hear the throttle body opening and closing. And I could read it on the VCM scanner, and when I pushed the gas pedal, it was changing the value and everything. So everything seems to be working. So I haven't actually tried to fire it up, and I'm going to show you that action live. Alright folks, live action here. We're in VCM scanner now. I uploaded my tune, so I have fans. So there's fan 1. Sounds like I got something clicking. No. Fan 2's not happy. I have to play around with that one. Alright. Go over here so you can see my throttle. Let's see, what else can I do here? Fuel system, pump. Yep, works. Engine. Alrighty. The moment of truth, folks. Here goes attempt number 1. We'll see if this works. Oh, it's real close. My key's kind of jacked up. Gosh dang it. Woo! Alright, give you guys a little bit of an update. So I got the engine up running, obviously. Pretty choppy idle, and wasn't really wanting to stay running. So, tweaked with the computer just a little bit, and still wasn't running quite right. So, what I did was I checked, took my infrared thermometer And the cylinders on this side, you know, after running for 20, 30 seconds, you know, the headers were in the range of 130 degrees or so. Over here, like 60. So I'm thinking that this side of the engine isn't firing. I'm also getting an injector code. I can't remember which one exactly. So I'm going to do a little bit of electrical testing here to see if maybe I have a wire that's shorted or broken or something like that that's causing these injectors to not fire. It could also be the coil system isn't firing. It's probably one of those two. Obviously, to make an engine run, you need air, fuel, and spark. So should have air because we have a camshaft in there. And so it's one of those things. My first suspicion is the injectors, though, since I am getting that code. The other thing that happened was, so I started it up and revving it up a little bit. And this is my transmission cooler line. And I forgot this little clamp here, so I made a big mess down there. But, you know, if that's the worst thing that happens, and this, I can figure that out pretty quickly. This is pretty easy. Also, my fan number 2, it was making a weird noise you could hear earlier. So I checked on my fuse block here, and the signal coming from the ECM is pulsating too. I don't know if that's a wire issue, or of course this ECM 2001 didn't have a fan, so maybe there's a controller issue where, you know, it's not allowed to control 2 fans. But I mean, in the program in HP Tuners, you know, there's a selection for 2 fans. So I'm not 100% sure. I think I did another one, LS swap, and I think I put electric fans on it and did the same thing. I don't remember having issues with this, but so in the LS engines, the ECM grounds the relay to switch the power, and like it's a pulsing type signal. So it's got to be a wiring issue, basically. We'll check it out, though. That's the least of my concern right now. I'm gonna work on getting those cylinders firing. Then, you know, we can work on the idle and all that sort of stuff. Another update is I don't have my drive shaft yet, and I remembered, like I said on the earlier video, that I hadn't gone to the drive shaft shop yet, and I remembered why. Because the 4L80E takes a different yoke than the 700R4 that was in here. So I ordered that yoke, and it's been on back order from Summit, and they actually sent me an email and said, hey, we don't know when this is going to come in. So I was able to go online, find another company that had it, and they actually shipped it out already. So it should be here in a couple of days, and then hopefully next week I'll be able to put that in, measure for my drive shaft, and go get that modified and everything. So I'm going to keep tinkering with wiring, testing, and everything. It's super boring stuff. Basically, if you know how to use a multimeter, I actually have a great tool here, the power probe. So you can actually power things up with it and ground stuff with it. I really like this tool. If you do a lot of wiring, definitely worth it. But otherwise, you know, just a regular multimeter will do the same thing. So wish me luck on the wiring, and I'll give you an update if and when I figure it out. All right, did a little more testing, and neither one of my coils or injectors over on that side is getting power. When I compared it to this side, so the pink wires here, they have power on them when the key's on. So that leads me to believe that somehow my wiring is not connected. If I remember right, I have a wire coming from my fuse block here, coming up to here, and where I think there's 5 wires, so 1 for the coil circuit and then 4 for the injectors. I think the splice is somewhere in this section, so I'm going to take that apart and hopefully find it. Hopefully this is going to be an easy fix, but you know, I've narrowed it down to we don't have power there, so keep looking. Alright guys, I've found the culprit. This wire right here, it wasn't cut. In the fuse box here, for some reason, it wasn't making good connection with this fuse right there, or fuse holder connector. So what I'm going to do is I have this extra fuse spot here just wired up, kind of just in case, maybe for this case, I don't know. But it's switched off the ignition switch just like this one, so I'm just going to use this one to power those coils and injectors. So that's what that wire is from that new circuit, and this goes over to the injector and coils. So I'm going to splice those together and we should be in business.